You know, in Euphoria, Rue Bennett is always searching for that one single moment where the world just stops, but the more she chases it, the more her life completely falls apart. So, what if the secret to her balance isn't a drug or even jewels, but four ancient pillars that are just totally missing from her life? Today, let's dive into how the four pillars of Dharma might just be the key for these characters to survive their own chaos. Right, this search for stillness, it's really the core of Rue's entire journey, isn't it? She is desperately looking for an escape, any way to quiet the constant noise screaming inside her head. The tragic irony, of course, is that her methods only amplify the chaos. They push her further and further away from the very peace she's craving. So, where did all this chaos even come from? Well, an ancient story might just hold the answer. To really get what's going on, we have to go way, way back to an ancient metaphor about morality, about balance, and about a bull standing on four legs. This is the very foundation that, for characters like Rue, has completely crumbled into dust. Okay, so imagine a perfect world, a golden age. In Hindu cosmology, they call this the Satya Yuga. And during this time, Dharma, which you can kind of think of as the universal law of balance and morality, is just unshakable. It's a time of total purity, total goodness, a state of perfect stability that feels a million miles away from the world we see in Euphoria. Now, this is what I find so fascinating. This visual shows the decay of morality over time. The bull of Dharma starts out strong, right? Four legs, totally stable. But with each passing age, it loses a leg, becoming more and more wobbly. By the time we get to East Highland, the world Rue and her friends live in, the bull isn't just balancing on one leg. It's completely collapsed. There's no foundation left at all. So, how in the world do you even begin to rebuild from that? Well, you start with the first pillar. So, this first step, it is not easy. It actually requires facing the very thing that all these characters are constantly running away from. It's all about building an inner fire, a strength that comes from discipline, not from avoidance. This first pillar is called tapas. It's often translated as austerity, but it's really about the spiritual discipline to endure hardship. It's the ability to feel pain, to feel frustration, to feel sorrow, and to actually move through with a purpose, instead of immediately reaching for an escape. So, how does this ancient idea of spiritual endurance connect to Rue's world? Well, when you look closely, you realize her entire story is defined by its exact opposite, a complete and total lack of tapas. And this just nails the core issue, doesn't it? Instead of tolerating the pain of her father's death or her own mental health struggles, Rue chooses to numb it. She drowns it out. Every single time she is actively choosing to avoid practicing tapas. So the fix then isn't to find a better way to escape, it's to learn how to stay. It's about fundamentally rewiring her response to pain. Okay, so this is the crucial point. Rebuilding has to start with self-control. It means consciously choosing the good path, the one that leads to long-term healing, over the pleasant path of a temporary high. It's about learning to just sit with her pain without letting it completely destroy her. And once that foundation of discipline is laid, then the next step becomes possible. Right, so once you stop running from the pain, the next step is to clear out the mess it's created. This second pillar is about cleanliness, yeah, but in a much deeper sense than just taking a shower. It's really about creating the right conditions for clarity. This pillar is called shaucha, the practice of purity. Basically, this means decluttering your life on every single level, physically, mentally, and environmentally. It's all about intentionally removing the things, the habits, and even the thoughts that are just draining your energy and clouding your judgment. And you know what? There's real science to back this up. Living in physical chaos, like a messy room, is proven to raise your stress hormones and make it so much harder to focus. And internal clutter, like the toxic cycle of addiction, is just constantly overstimulating the nervous system, making any kind of peace feel impossible. So practicing shaucha isn't just about tidying up. It's about giving your entire system, your mind and your body, a real chance to hit the reset button and find its natural balance again. And the good news is this doesn't have to be some huge, overwhelming thing. It can start with small, manageable actions, choosing to eat something fresh, cleaning just one corner of a room, taking 5 minutes to just write down your thoughts. Every single small act of purification creates a little more space for clarity to grow. Okay, so with some discipline and clarity in place, we can now start to turn outward. This third pillar redefines compassion not as some passive feeling, but as an active, powerful choice that can literally break cycles of violence and pain. This pillar is Daya, and it's not just about, feeling sorry for people. It's a specific, active kind of compassion. It's the raw strength to tame the inner beast, that part inside all of us that wants to lash out in anger, resentment, and cruelty. It's the conscious decision to show mercy, to not inflict pain on others, even when you feel you have every right to. In Euphoria, we see a world almost completely empty of Daya. Characters like Nate, and yeah, even Rue in the depths of her addiction, are just trapped. They're drowning in a sea of sorrow, caught in this endless cycle. They hurt other people because they themselves are hurting so badly. Nate's rage isn't strength. It's the beast running wild. He lacks the control to choose compassion, and it absolutely consumes him and everyone around him. And that brings us to the final and, maybe the most fundamental pillar of them all. Because without this one, the other three, they just can't stand for long. This is the bedrock of any real recovery, the one thing that can truly set you free. The final pillar is Satya, which simply means truth. Now, in Vedic thought, this is the ultimate virtue. But why? Because being truthful literally aligns you with reality itself. Lying isn't just wrong, it's a denial of the way things actually are. It creates a false world that takes constant energy to maintain, and you know what? It will eventually collapse. I mean, just look at the contrast here. Rue's life of lies, hiding her drug use, sabotaging her relationships, it creates a split personality. She can't be one whole person. The path of truth, on the other hand, is the only way to integrate all those fractured pieces. Recovery is just plain impossible without honesty. You have to know yourself and admit your own reality before you can ever hope to change it. So once these 4 pillars, discipline, purity, compassion, and truth are finally in place, what happens? Well, the metaphor shifts from rebuilding a ruined foundation to growing something new, something that can actually bear fruit. This quote really just gets right to the heart of it all. The characters in Euphoria, for the most part, are their own worst enemies. Their minds are actively working against them, pulling them deeper and deeper into chaos. The 4 pillars are basically a roadmap for turning the mind into an ally, into your best friend. And when that happens, you become a kalpavriksha, a mythical wishing tree. It's such a beautiful idea, right? When your actions, your thoughts, and your energy are all organized and pointed in one healthy direction, your life actually starts to manifest what you truly desire. Not a fleeting high, but genuine peace, love, and stability. It's a really powerful framework, not just for a character on a TV show, but for any of us navigating our own chaos. So it leaves all of us with a question to think about. If you were rebuilding, where would you begin? Which pillar feels like the most crucial first step for you?